What's going on, my frosty boys and girls? Today I'm gonna be doing something a little different here on the channel as far as content goes. I'm gonna be telling like a little story. This story's just kind of one about my dad. My dad recently passed away. Passed away in October last year. He died at age 43. Very early in someone's life, and it's super hard, here or there, but I don't want this to be a sad video or anything like that. This is more of a happy video, and I just have a story about him, and I got a couple prerequisites before I start the story. It's a very short story, but it's hilarious, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. So, the first prerequisite is you guys have to understand, my dad had a huge temper, loads of, explosive anger, you know what I mean? He wasn't generally an angry person, he just had a very short fuse, so when he would get mad, the fuse was short and then it was explosive, of course. So that being said, he was very loving person, huge, tons of passion as far as for his family and and the Bears. Huge Bears fan. So then the second prerequisite is this story takes place I think I was around 5, or not 5, gosh, 10, 11, 12-ish, I'm pretty young at this point, and my parents were on and off my entire life, so when we would go to my dad's, we'd go to my dad's house on the weekends, me and my little brother. So I don't know what it is about being a guy, or maybe it's just a kid in general, but something about sleeping anywhere except my bed was the coolest thing to me. I have no idea why. I don't know if it was the survivalist in me, or the playing loads of Call of Duty and watching Bear Grylls on the freaking TV, and just stuff Man vs. Wild and this, that, and the other. But something about sleeping outside or sleeping in some weird spot was just so fascinating to me. And it wasn't just me, it was my friends. When we'd go over to my dad's on the weekends, it was guys, what if we just went and slept outside? It's what, no way. And it's dude, on the concrete. You know what I mean? It's but one of the spots that we always liked to sleep was in the attic of a shed that my dad built, and it was very new, within a few years being built, and we it's all insulated and everything like that, so it was oh, we're gonna sleep in the attic, and if zombies break out, we're already in the attic, we can just kick them in the face, you know what I mean? Just whatever a 12-year-old's kind of thinking, you know what I mean? Just we're invincible, and if a monster comes, we're gonna mess them up because we're outside. If I'm in the dark in my bed, I'm screwed. All I got is a blanket. But if I'm outside, I can run. I don't know. Whatever it was, something so awesome about not sleeping in my bed. And some of the spots are really weird. Looking back on it and thinking about it. There was a closet underneath the staircase, right? But it went all the way back under the staircase, and you could see the actual stairs. I remember sleeping in there. I remember sleeping outside under the truck one time, just in my sleeping bag. So, and pillow. So it was always some weird location, you know what I mean? Wherever I could. And there was also a deck, but it was a pretty enclosed deck. It had a carport roof kind of over it, essentially, and then underneath the deck was all insulated and everything like that as well. So there's loads of locations to sleep that weren't my bed, that were cool to me. And anyway, this one particular weekend when we're out at my dad's, my dad Friday night was like, hey, what if we all went camping out in the backyard? We'll make some s'mores, and instead of planning super far ahead of time, my dad was like kind of just winging it on the fly. And my dad was really good at that. My dad was always like, hey, how can I spice up your fun? But without asking us, he would just come present us with some cool idea that would just amplify what we were doing. If we were running around with fake guns and stuff, he would make a better fake gun. Or he'd come, hey, look, this is a BB gun, there's no BBs in it, but now you have like a more realistic gun, you know what I mean? So my dad was always like super cool about like spicing up the fun. I think that's like just your role as a dad, right? Anyway, my dad's like, hey, what if we went camping out in the back? We'll get the s'mores going, we'll get a bonfire, whole 9 yards and a half, right? Like, we're gonna do it right in the backyard. I was like, all right, sweet. And like I said, my parents were on and off like my whole life. So I believe my mom was coming over the next night, and she was gonna come camping with us, and it was just super exciting. So me and the little brother were hyped up the whole freaking Friday night. Like, I can barely sleep. I'm like, dude, I don't even want to sleep. Let's just stay up and get ready, because we're going camping in the backyard. I don't know why it was so exciting, because like, we've been camping before. This isn't like a new thing for us. We've been actually camping, not in a camper or trailer, like, but actual camping. So I don't know why this particular thing was so exciting, but we were juiced for it, right? So the day comes, and me and the little brother, we get everything gathered, we get it all outside, and it's a super windy day, right? And the wind's blowing like crazy. Like, it's knocking my hat off. It's damn near pushing my little brother down the street. We gotta chase him down. And my dad kind of gets ready to set up the tent, right? So he pulls it out the bag, right? And he's throwing it out, but the wind's blowing, it's cooking. And I'm kind of at the age where like I can help my dad with stuff, but like it's kind of one of those things that like if it's not something I inherently know how to do, I'm kind of like nervous about doing it because I don't want to mess it up, make my dad mad. It's like holding the flashlight, right? Like, you can hold the flashlight all day, but you're not like being actual help, because when he asks you to grab the right wrench and you grab the wrong wrench, then you get yelled at, right? It's like one of those situations, right? So my dad's setting up this tent, and I want to help, but I don't really know how, right? I'm just like, well, I'm here in case he needs anything, right? And I don't want to go inside because anybody who's been camping at a like younger age, but when the tent first gets set up, that's like the best feeling in the world. You're like, oh yeah, this is where I'm sleeping tonight. I'm gonna come in here, I'm gonna look up at the ceiling of the roof of the tent. This is awesome. Like, we're getting this done. So we're on standby waiting for it, right? I'm juiced. I'm apple juiced, right? Like, I'm so excited to get this tent up. And anyway, little brother's excited too, blah blah blah. The wind's blowing, and my dad gets really mad at my little brother for something. I don't 100% recall, but he gets mad at him, and so it kind of puts him in a sour mood, right? And like I said, my dad's got a pretty huge temper, and so he gets mad at my little brother, and my little brother and I are just sitting there waiting to help him out. And so he looks at my little brother, he's like, what, so you're not gonna help me? And gets all mad at him, blah blah blah. And then the wind takes, like a big gust of wind comes and just takes this tent, flips it 180. It's down in the dumps, it's all screwed, it's all messed up. All the work my dad's done to this point has got the hard reset button, hit him with the prestige button. And so my dad turns and starts screaming at the wind. At the wind, mind you. Like, something that can't respond, something that doesn't have a conscience. We're talking the wind. A grown man is screaming at the wind at this point. And it's super hilarious. It's like, and I'm in this position where I can't laugh out loud, because if I do, I know I'm getting my ass beat, and I don't want that. Obviously, I'm like, if I laugh right now, I die. And I know that, and I understand that completely, but this grown man is screaming at the wind. So I take, and I look at the ground, and I'm like, Chance, if you laugh, you're dead. So I turn around, like 180, I'm facing the fence, and I literally bite my tongue. Like, that's the first thing that came to my mind, you know? It's like, oh, you better hold your tongue or bite your tongue, right? Like, don't say anything, don't laugh, don't whatever. And so that was like the first thing I could think to do. So I bit my tongue, and honestly, I feel like if I didn't bite my tongue, I would have laughed, and it would have been, I wouldn't be here telling this story, because my dad, like I said, explosive anger, and he's still screaming at the wind, blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, you know, he eventually got the tent set up, and we got to go camping outside, right? And I'd always tell the story. This is honestly a really quick story, right? Like, I could have just summed it up by like, hey, one time my dad was setting up the tent, and the wind knocked it over, and he screamed at the wind. Yeah, that's funny, like, that's hilarious, but the thing is, you know, I would tell my dad this story all the time, and my dad wasn't one to, you know, 9 times out of 10, he would kind of own up to when he was being kind of a goofball or goober, you know what I mean? And he'd take a laugh about it too, and it was a nice moment, you know. Every time I told the story, even though, you know, he was the punchline of the joke, it was still super funny for all of us, you know. And it was just, you know, it's something I remember, and I always will, because it was, you know, that's my dad, you know, the angry guy, like. But I don't know, just a nice quick story. I hope you guys enjoyed. I do have loads of stories similar to that. Maybe I can do like tell a few of them in one video, something like that. But if you guys do enjoy this content, maybe story times, it doesn't have to be about my dad or anything like that. But I got loads of stories. You know, I've been alive for a good 23 years and got a few stories to tell. So again, if you like it, be sure to leave a like. Let me know that you do. Maybe comment. And I appreciate you kind of listening to the story about my dad. And may he rest in peace. And I hope you all have a good day.